I'm Mike, and welcome back. And it's still the Christmas season. You'll know Christmas is over when this is gone. No, not really. It'll probably be up a little bit after Christmas, I think.
Well, probably like an episode or two
But
after
when
the
this
new
is
year.
gone, you'll know it's the end of the Christmas season when I'm no longer
Oh,
wearing a Christmas hat.
that's just gonna be on
That's
for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear this all the time. It's gonna be my new tradition
Mm.
for always. You think if I walked through the airport with like a Santa hat on in June or May, people would look at me funny? Like,
Probably.
would they have an opinion of me? I feel like they would have an opinion of me.
They'd be like, maybe he doesn't know.
Yeah, right? Or a full Santa suit, like in May. Would people think?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Feel
they would
like
think.
they
I think if anything, they would think that you're going to like an event or something.
maybe, or they might think I was delusional and thought that I was Santa.
Christmas in July. What's wrong
Yeah,
with that?
but it's May. That's why I said May, because
Uh oh.
July you could be like, oh yeah, it must be a Christmas in July thing, but May people are like, what is he doing? So today we wanted to talk a little bit about our favorite Christmas movies. We've talked a few times on the podcast about, I think we did a quiz that was Christmas movie trivia a little bit back. And since we're kind of in the heart of the Christmas season, the Christmas movie season, what made me think of this was that last night I watched that new one with Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans, and it's called Red One, which was in movie theaters like not that long ago, a couple of weeks ago.
What
But
did you watch it on?
it's on Amazon Prime,
Mm.
free. It's not even like you don't even have to rent it. It's on Amazon Prime for free. So I was surprised by that because it's such a new movie.
Mhm.
Um, and general opinion is it was good. It was a good movie. Um, I think it was a better like action movie than Christmas movie, but it was obviously Christmas movie themed because it was like Red One is like I think the code name for Santa Claus.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
in
know
this,
that.
yeah, or maybe for his sleigh. Now I know they kept calling him Red. They
Oh,
kept
red
referring to
one,
him as
probably
Red.
like Air Force One,
Yeah,
red
yeah.
one.
There you go.
Ha
There
ha
you
ha
go.
ha ha.
Yeah. So and it was a good movie. It was the I won't give any spoilers, but I think you know this if you saw the trailer. Is the concept behind it is Santa is abducted. He's kidnapped, and Dwayne Johnson
Imagine.
plays like his head security guy, and Chris Evans plays like a guy who they bring in to help find him. Like he's like I think they call him a finder in the movie. Um, so he's somebody who like knows how to find people who don't want to be found. So, um, but it had me thinking about like because is it the best Christmas movie of all time? No, it's absolutely not. Was it a fun movie to watch? Yeah, it was good. It
I
was
might
it
watch
was
it.
good. Yeah, watch it if you
Hmm.
have some time. Yeah, put it on, and it was good. It was some little weird things in it because it has Krampus, who is like the the anti Santa, I guess you would call him, and some character who's the main like bad guy in it is this Christmas witch.
They always need a bad
Yeah,
guy,
there's always got to be a bad guy, right? Like even in
even in a fun-loving
right. Like
Christmas
we were
movie.
talking a little bit ago about the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jingle All the
Uh
Way,
huh.
and there's always a bet. Like there's the guy who he's competing against, played by Sinbad, the guy who's
Yeah,
competing against, who wasn't really a bad guy, but there's always got to be
like a villain
yeah.
character.
So
I think it's
so
hard to make Christmas movies now because Christmas movies are just one of those things that people just have their old school. Like it has to be a really good
yeah
Christmas feeling movie because otherwise like people already have their old school Christmas movies that they love that they watch every year like their tradition
yeah
type type movies.
yeah
Like every year I know that I'm going to watch um the Santa Claus.
yep
I know Elf. Elf is like one of the newer. Like I
yeah
know Elf is old, but
yeah. Now it's old, but it's still newer.
it's like newer.
That and the Grinch
The
is another one
Grinch.
that's newer, but it's not. It's not. It's clearly not new. But you're right. It's like I feel like it's tough for a movie
Mhm.
that comes out at Christmas time that is a Christmas movie versus. And I won't get into the Die Hard discussion because
I think we already kind of
Yeah,
talked a little
we
bit about
did,
that too.
but I think it's hard for like a Christmas movie to become a classic because there are so many. It's almost like they're competing against, and I think this is your point. They're competing against so many other movies that
Like
are already out there.
classics.
Yeah, and that's that, even like that Jingle All the Way. I think you called it like that one we always forget about, and it's a really
Mhm.
good like Christmas movie. I think anyway.
Mhm.
I think it's one that I enjoy watching, and I just always like you don't see it on that often. I don't know why that is, but you don't see it on that
You'll like
often.
maybe catch it on one of the channels,
Yeah,
like
I think Disney Plus had it last year. I'm assuming they would still have it this year, but I don't know. I haven't looked for it, right? Because there's so many other like the
yeah.
when the classics is the Santa Claus, which is I think you've said it's your favorite. I think it's probably my favorite Christmas movie because I think it's the one that it's one of those ones that like if I see that it's on, I'll leave it on and I'll watch it.
I'll turn it on like on my own, and it's I don't know. I feel like the Santa Claus is just one of those feel good, like it
Yeah,
really um shows like what the 90s were
yeah,
during
that's true.
Christmas.
And interestingly, no bad guy.
The bad guy in that I think is either Neil
Yeah.
or
Okay. Yeah.
or it's
It kind of is the police, I guess, at
or
the
the
one point.
police.
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that part
The
of it.
police at the end trying to
Yeah.
take Santa down. Why is everyone
Yeah.
trying to take Santa down and
Right.
like kidnap him and stuff?
Right. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
think.
out of all the people,
Yeah.
what'd you come trying to kidnap Santa for?
Yeah, and I think, and we've kind of talked about this before. I think what makes that movie such a good movie is it's like a lot of those other kind of fantasy movies. I think
Uh-huh.
that end up taking you somewhere that isn't exactly normal life, but it starts out as this guy. It's his normal life. He's a salesman at a toy company,
Mhm.
and he's going to see his son, and he's a divorced guy, and so he gets his son for Christmas, and it starts out very normal, and then goes into that whole
Mhm.
kind of pulls you into the less believable side of things, I guess is the way to
Mhm.
put it, slowly, so that you can see it coming, and then that's where I think I've said in the other two Santa Claus movies those are a little tougher, and I like those movies, don't get me wrong, I'll still watch those,
Mhm.
but you're already at that point where okay, he's already you already know he's Santa Claus, that the North Pole is real, and all of that, and then they start trying to expand on that. So I think that's why that one is just such a good like classic, Christmas movie. Um,
Well, and I think nowadays, you know, a lot of people look forward to. I don't know. I think a lot of people, not maybe look forward to, but um, they. I don't know the word for it. You okay? Okay. A lot of people really just like cherish, I guess, more than anything, the old days with how Christmas is. So I think watching those older movies that give you those feels, and just really a Christmas movie that truly is like very Christmassy. I think even a movie like Four Christmases or
mhm.
um like that type of movie, it's all about the Christmas season. It's not like Die Hard where it's just filmed around Christmas time. Like it is fully engulfed in the Christmas season, and I think that's kind of also where it's hard to make another good Christmas movie because you really gotta make it not like other Christmas movies that are out there, but still something that people want to watch and gives them like all the Christmas feels, because I think around this time of year people are just trying to do anything to kind of, make it feel even more like the holidays.
Right, right.
That's why we go to Christmas events and tree lightings and decorate our homes and all
Right,
that stuff.
right. I need to take a drink of water. I'm sorry.
It's because you don't have a hot drink.
Yeah,
I always cough on here when I don't have a hot drink.
that's the worst when that hits you. Anyway, I apologize for that, but I think you're right, and I think like when I go back to like even some of the older Christmas movies, like the
Mhm.
ones that I remember watching that were, the ones that your like grandparents, watched when they were younger. Um,
Yeah.
I think of those ones, and like one of them, I was surprised, and it's a Christmas classic. Is that I just found this out today in a
Mhm.
discussion I had actually with your Uncle Jimmy. Um, that the It's a Wonderful Life. That movie actually is public domain. So
Uh,
basically, what that means is like anybody can air that movie
mhm.
without like paying royalties for the movie itself, because apparently the people that owned the rights to it allowed it to like lapse. They allowed the copyright to lapse
Is that just
without
because it's an
renewing it.
old movie?
Well, partly I guess, but partly it just somehow the people who were responsible for doing that, I guess, didn't do it. And I was reading up on it after I talked to him, and apparently it lapsed in 1974. So it
Mhm.
was a long time ago that it lapsed. And they weren't able to get the rights to the movie back, but they still own the rights to the short story that it's based on, and they own the rights to all of the music in the movie. So technically, if a TV station plays the movie and they're playing the music along with it, they
Mhm.
have to uh, they have to pay them royalties for the music. So that I thought that was
Oh
interesting. But
wow.
that movie used to be the one that like usually on Thanksgiving night when I was younger, that would be like the first Christmas thing at all you saw
Mhm.
was It's a Wonderful Life would come on, that evening. That was like the normal tradition. So that's an example of and that one even like it's a story that kind of is I guess the story ends around Christmas time. Uh, but it's not really that like it's kind of interesting because and you should watch it sometime. It's not really a Christmas like it's not really a it's not really centered around Christmas, I guess.
Mhm.
And to me, there's two types of movies that can be centered around Christmas. There can be the religious ones that are more, focused on the nativity and that kind of thing, and then there's the kind of Santa Claus and snowman and reindeer and that those types of movies. And so otherwise, I don't. I think even if it's a movie that was made, that or that not was made around Christmas, but that is uh, kind of centered around or not centered, timed around Christmas. In other
Mhm.
words, that it occurs around Christmas, doesn't make it a Christmas movie to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think even man, like I love the old school cartoons, like the
Right.
old school Rudolph, the old school Frosty.
Yeah.
I tried to put I think Rudolph it was. I think it was either Rudolph or Frosty. I think it was Rudolph on the one day,
Hmm.
and one of the younger kids was like, "Oh, this looks so I don't want to
Oh,
watch this.
I think you said before it was Frosty.
This
Yeah.
looks so old."
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
What
I
do you
know.
mean it looks
I
old?
know. That's
Like
funny.
it's just a cartoon.
That's funny.
It's not as much like I don't know. I feel like that's just one of those like warm and cozy ones.
Yeah.
You know what one
Yeah.
I watched the other day though that I really liked? It was and I've watched it before obviously, but I think they used to play it on Disney Channel. I'm pretty sure it's on Disney Plus right now. Um oh man, what's the name of it? I can't think of the name of it now, but
I
it's
don't know.
where the kids like they're about to go on winter break and they find this they live in California and they find this weather machine that Santa threw out
Oh, I
and
think I remember this one. I don't remember what it's called, but
they
yeah, I
bring
think I
it back
remember it.
home and they um they turn it on and it starts creating snow because they wanted a snow day.
Yeah. Is
And
that No, that's not what it's called. Never
what?
mind. Snow Day. No, it wasn't
I
called
don't
that.
think that's what it's
Snow Day
called.
is a movie, but
They
it's a
wanted a
different
snow
one.
day so bad, but they live in California where obviously it wasn't snowing like Southern California. And yeah, it was snowing so bad and there's a little
Yeah.
snow day. I was like, "Ah,
Yeah.
I loved a good snow day when
Yeah.
I was younger. I'm going to look up the name of it.
Well, and I'm thinking about that too, and I'm thinking about you talking about like the younger kids and how they, viewed like what I consider a classic, what you consider a classic in Frosty the Snowman.
Uh-huh.
And I think some of that is like today there is so much content out there, and like kids today know that they can go. These kids today, no,
Yeah.
they know that they can go anytime they want to go on and find whatever I'm just using this as an example, but Paw Patrol Christmas special or whatever there would be out there.
Oh yeah, we just
And
watched what was on.
yeah, exactly. For us, for you guys, and for my generation, it was like we looked forward to whatever night like Rudolph and Frosty were going to be on TV because that was the only time you were watching
Like
them.
I got to be in front of the TV at
Yeah,
8 p.m.
yeah,
on Sunday night,
yeah. So it
or else
was
I'm gonna miss it.
yeah. And because we did that every year, like
Yeah.
that became those are our like classics that we had. And today it's first of all there's so much more content, right? So there are like Christmas stories that they're watching that
Mhm.
are like that we've never heard of, that are that kind of thing. So that's like for them it's just
I don't
I'll be
even
interested
think
to see for like the next generation now what it'll be like because it'll be like all
from
AI created things. It'll be like, give me a Christmas story about this, and it'll just appear.
from what I've seen, like they're not even watching like Christmas movies.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's
like
like
even that is just
that's true
they're
too.
they're into the YouTube shorts, like the quick little like they're
Yeah,
not they're not waking up, and even they don't care about waking up and watching cartoons in the
yeah.
morning
Oh yeah,
on the weekend. Like they're
yeah.
not doing
Saturday
that at
morning
all.
cartoons. Yeah, and
So even where we would watch like if I'm not watching a Christmas movie, my cartoons are like Fairly Odd Parents. They would have their
heck
Christmas
yeah.
episode. By the way, it was called The Ultimate
Nog.
Christmas Present.
Remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
Nog.
yeah. Yeah, it was The Ultimate Christmas Present,
I
y'all.
I
Go
have to
watch
admit
it.
that was one of my favorite cartoons, The Fairly
I
Odd
love.
Parents.
They
That
still
was
have it.
such a
I
good.
think they still have it on
That was such a. I
Hulu or
know because
something.
like because that was you guys,
Yeah,
generation. But
it's a good
I
one.
could sit and watch that
Yeah.
all day.
But like so our shows were also doing that.
Yeah,
Now they're watching a lot of, the I don't even think it's like preteens, like
yeah.
even the 5-year-olds, like they're just watching like the quick little videos that
Yeah,
give
like
them
20 seconds,
like
like
a lot of
literally.
YouTube, like more
Yeah.
primarily YouTube, which is kind of
So
crazy.
this is way off the topic of our discussion, but I do worry about like what that stuff is doing,
Like long term,
like
yeah.
long term for attention spans, right?
Oh, the
Because
attention
when
span's
you're
so
watching
small.
like very short
Yeah,
videos and then moving on to the next very short video,
yeah.
like what does that do for your ability to focus
Like not
on
even a
one
minute
topic?
long type of thing.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
was watching a 20-minute video, like YouTube video, 5 minutes in. It was like, how long is this? She's talking too much.
yeah.
Like what?
Yeah.
It's 20
So
minutes.
we went from like binging series where you watch the entire series in one night because you want to see it all, to like 5-second videos.
I just need to see like yeah, I just need to see 15 seconds of this,
Yep.
and now we're moving on. Yeah, that's how it is. So like they're not even seeing, the Christmas specials of cartoons and stuff,
Right.
and I
Right.
loved that. Like
Oh
even if it
yeah.
wasn't a Christmas,
Santa
I think
Claus is coming to town with the red bearded Santa Claus when he was young.
like that's where I think even, the Snoopy and all
Oh yeah.
those.
That when it comes to the cartoons, I mean I like all of them, but I think the Peanuts one is one of my favorite ones. I think
Mhm.
just because not to get preachy, and I'm not getting preachy, but there's a little bit more of an actual Christmas connection in that movie, and the message, regardless of it, having a little bit of a religious like tinge to it.
Mhm.
Um, it's just I think it's a much better message about hey, you know let's not forget why there is a Christmas.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that when when I was growing up, that wasn't. I think the Peanuts wasn't. That was more a your
Yeah,
generation
it was
thing.
definitely my generation,
But
and
I
not
think
everybody like your mom I don't think is a big fan
Peanuts
of that
fan.
one. Yeah, it's
She
just
could draw a good
it was
Snoopy
just me.
though.
She can draw a super good Snoopy. Yeah.
Um, but no, and I think that's like part of that was part of what made it feel even more like the Christmas season is when you're not just watching the Christmas movies, and we didn't even just have all of the like movies like the Santa Claus. it
True.
was also just a bunch of the Disney Channel movies that were coming out too that maybe aren't considered like classics nowadays, but
Right.
it was still a Christmas movie. Or again, like all of the shows that you watched on the
Right.
regular, they had a Christmas special, so it was a lot more Christmas in your face.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know, I feel like maybe Christmas, it doesn't even probably feel that much like Christmas to children.
Yeah, because they don't get excited by all that stuff as much. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
because I get like we were talking earlier today about Christmas movies, and we were talking about like even your Uncle Jimmy, like White Christmas, right? That was like a classic, a very old classic Christmas movie.
Uh-huh.
Because I think it actually, like the story took place like just right after World War II, right? So that's and it's another one that really the movie itself is not that much about Christmas. It's got Christmas in the name, so it qualifies as a Christmas movie to me.
Uh-huh.
But the storyline itself isn't. It takes place at Christmas, and it's a really good movie. But he was saying I always remember seeing it as a kid because your nana and your pop up would watch it when it was on. He doesn't remember seeing it until he was like 30, which is
Oh, wow.
hilarious to me because we grew up in the same house, but I guess we were in different rooms or something. I don't know. Um, but um, but like that, to me, like that's my memory of like Christmas movies as a kid was those older, like because as a kid we didn't really have. I mean, there was that one that came out in like the 70s, maybe A Christmas Story. I got to be honest, I've never seen the movie. I've never because it always just
That's one that's
like
on
the
every year
clips
too.
that I saw of it, it always just looked like a depressing movie to me.
Mhm.
It really looked like, and uh, interestingly enough, I've had people tell me when I was a kid I looked just like the kid in that movie, which, but that like that's one that to some people that's a huge classic, and to me I never saw it, and it's been on
Mhm.
100 times. I think they more recently actually made a sequel to it with the same guy that played the kid in it back then.
You.
Interesting fact, no, it wasn't me. Interesting fact though, the guy that played the kid in A Christmas Story
Uh.
was actually in Elf. He played one of the elves.
Oh, I heard that. I
Yeah,
heard something
yeah.
about that.
So I
Uh-huh.
thought that was kind of cool. But like outside of that, I can't really think of like Christmas movies from when I was a kid. It was all the things like we're talking about, like The Grinch
Yeah.
and Snoopy, or the Peanuts Christmas, and Rudolph and Frosty and Santa Claus and
Yeah.
all of those those little animated shorts. See, I gave it to you now. No.
I'm getting over being sick.
uh,
I have an excuse.
you should have warned me that before this. I would have like put some plastic up between us or something. Um, but like I'm trying to think of when the thing of Christmas movies really coming out like that.
Probably,
That
I think
ones
the
that I.
90s. I feel like
Yeah,
the 90s is when it really.
yeah, and because you think of, I mean, to me it's like the Santa Claus,
Mhm.
um, the Grinch, you know, um, like that kind of era where some of those other ones started coming out again. That's when I feel like it started to build again.
Yeah.
Um, because like I said, I don't really think like there's nothing I can think of in. I don't. Well, when did the Santa Claus come out? We looked that up at some point. Do you remember?
I thought it was
Yeah,
98 or
I feel
something.
like that's when it was. It
Let
was
me
in the
look.
late '90s. Um, and then that's maybe around the same time that the Grinch came out. I'm not 100% sure of that either. But there
1994.
you go. So, and I think maybe the Grinch came out in '98, and
Which one? The Jim Carrey
the
one?
Jim Carrey Grinch, yeah. Which they're. So I thought I'd heard they're making a sequel to that, but I haven't heard anything about it since then. So I don't know. But then I think there's a lot of movies that have come out since then that I think of as, I don't know that I think of them as classics, but they're ones that I like to watch every year, like Christmas with the Cranks, right?
Oh,
Or
Grinch came out in 2000.
2000. Okay. And what about the Home Alone movies? When did those come out?
I
Because
think
those
that was
those
around
are
the
another
time
one we
of
haven't
the
even really.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, we haven't even really mentioned those, but those
Oh,
are,
yeah.
to me, those are like classics. And it's an odd thing because both of those movies, unlike the Santa Claus movies, where I would say there's a significant drop off from the first one.
1990.
There you go. Oh, so that one was out before the Santa Claus,
Before I was born.
before you were born, right?
I never really liked them.
What,
I never could
the Home
get
Alone
into
movies?
Home Alone.
See, I like those
To
movies.
this day, I never.
I like those
I'm
movies.
just not into them. I don't think.
I love nothing better than watching a couple of stupid criminals getting their butts kicked. I just love
Man,
that.
so you like all of them?
Well, like I was starting to say that I would say both of those movies are like they're both good movies, and I wouldn't say there's a significant like drop off from one to the other as far as how good I think they are. There is with the Santa Claus because the first Santa Claus to me is just leaps and bounds ahead of the other two.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I.
Although, can we talk about Home Alone a second? Like, you'd think, after the first time, where you leave your son home by himself, you'd just be better parents. And here's what I don't understand about the second one. So the second Santa Claus movie, the second Home Alone movie, he gets on the wrong plane. Totally understandable. He's chasing. They're all running because they're late. He's running. He sees a guy that he thinks is his dad because the guy's the same height, same color hair, wearing the same coat. Runs into the lady, follows him on the wrong plane. Totally understandable. In the first movie, they flew to Paris and they couldn't get a flight back because it was Christmas Eve and there were no flights going out and they just have to wait to get a flight back. And the mom didn't want to wait, so she found some way to get on a plane and got back. But in the second movie, they just flew to Miami. So I don't understand why they didn't right away turn around and fly back to Chicago and start looking for him. They didn't know at that point that he was in New York, but
maybe they thought he would have learned better by then.
yeah. I just think they were bad parents. I really think because there's again, if you haven't watched it, you can't, or if you've watched it, you just
I
said
haven't.
you don't like it
I
that
haven't
much.
watched it enough
No.
to even like.
But so you don't know
I
the
just
older,
know he's
the
good.
older
He was
brother
left
who's a
alone.
jerk and the uncle who's a jerk.
Yeah, I don't know enough about
okay.
them.
Darn, because we could have a whole discussion on that.
I just never
Because
could get into it. I don't
That's
know why.
why I think, but
and
that's
even when
why I
I've
think
seen
they're
clips,
bad parents because the older brother is obviously just a jerk to the younger brother in the whole thing, and they just encourage it. They're bad parents. They were bad. It happened twice to them because they were bad parents.
That is so funny.
Fight me on it.
That's not one of my top ones.
No.
I also, I can't really get into the what's it called? The Hallmark ones.
No. Oh, we were talking about those today.
The Hallmark movies are so bad.
Every one of those movies are the same story. Somebody they move away to the big city from the small town, and they become successful, and then they have to go back to the small town to shut down, the local candy shop that makes all of its money at Christmas, but they got bought out by a bigger candy shop, and now, he has to go back and shut down the local candy shop. But he gets there, and the person running it is his high school sweetheart who he'd lost contact with. So, he can't go right in and tell her to shut down the candy shop because, he still has feelings for her. And by the way, if Hallmark thinks they're going to take this and turn it into one of their crappy holiday Christmas movies, I will sue you.
Swear if I see a candy shop on there.
If there's a candy shop on there, but they are. They're all, I feel like they're all so cheesy. Yeah, it might already exist, and then they're going to sue me. But they're just such cheesy movies. They're just such, and I think, I don't know. They're just so cheesy.
You know what's funny is I remember last year, Grammy wanted to watch one.
Yeah.
Actually, she just said to me, "Do you want to watch a Christmas movie?" And I was like thinking like, "Oh, okay, yeah. Like, what do you want to watch?
Put
like
some
the
Grinch
Grinch?"
on.
Yeah. And then like she just turned on Hallmark.
Yeah.
And it was a movie with, same concept. There's always like a happy ending love story in it. But this one, like, there was magic. There was a portal.
Oh, wow. Okay.
A fancy hotel. Like, it was just, there was a lot going on, and it was just centered around like Christmas time. I don't know. I was just like,
well, that's somebody earlier was saying. Might have been your brother Jay was saying like. They're all just like not even romantic comedies, but they're kind of like romantic comedies
not even
that just happen to happen at Christmas time.
Uh-huh.
It's that's exactly what they are. It's
No
just
offense to the actors or actresses,
no,
but I feel
no.
like that's where
No, because
you go when you're starting out.
they deserve to get some of that Hallmark Channel money. That's fine,
Yeah.
you know.
I think when you're
They're
starting out
you
as
know
an
what the
actor, you go to
yeah.
Hallmark and
Well, yeah, because it used to be soap operas. They used to do soap operas, and now all those actors are making Hallmark movies. And didn't they at some point? I think they do. They run those movies year round. Like it used to be,
Mhm.
you know, they'd have their countdown to Christmas, and they'd run them. I don't know. I don't know when they'd start running them, but I swear they just started running them year round because people will watch them year round. You know, so why not?
Yeah, I just think those are the worst of them all,
But you know what?
honestly.
We're sitting here making fun of them. People love them. People will
They're playing
keep
them for a
watching them.
reason.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'd rather watch Home Alone than one of those.
Exactly. Or, someday when they make Phineas Squist's Christmas Wish into a cartoon, we'll watch that.
Yeah, there you go. Um, oh, I was gonna say another one. I can't think of the name of it. Oh man.
Sorry.
Oh, you know what I was gonna ask you though? What do you think about when they do like a lot of remakes on it? Like you know how they have, um like the Grinch, they
Yeah.
have the
The three
original
different. Yeah.
cartoon one. Then they have the Jim Carrey one. Now
Right.
the newest one is like that one where his face is rounder.
Yeah. So those are a bad example because those I like all versions of it. The cartoon, the original cartoon one is just because it's a classic. The Jim Carrey one because it's good.
Uh-huh.
And the third one I didn't expect to like because to your point, I again thought that we didn't need another Grinch movie,
Uh-huh.
And then I watched it and I was like, okay, it was good. So
Oh,
those are a
didn't you say
bad
that one
example.
was like a different
Yeah,
that
it's
one was a different story
yeah,
too.
it's like if there's such a thing as a Grinch multiverse that takes place in a different, Grinch universe from the other two. Um, but there are some like there
Interesting.
was with Frosty, like years later there was a one they made.
Oh
There was
yeah.
like I don't even remember what the storyline of it was. It was the actor who did the voice of Frosty was the guy who played Roseanne's wife in the or wife Roseanne's husband in the Roseanne TV series, John Goodman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he did the voice of Frosty in that one, and it just was kind of like, why are we doing this? Like, and then there was also,
That's
I don't
true.
know if you remember this one, but there was like a crossover one they did way back that
A
had
Frosty?
Rudolph and
Oh.
Frosty in it, and I forget what that one was. And then there was one they made because they decided it would be a good idea to really like make too many Rudolph movies, and they made one called Rudolph's Shiny New Year, where he was somehow trying to protect the baby New Year from something. I don't remember. I don't even remember the storyline of that one, but I just remember they had a baby in this giant top hat, and that was the baby New Year.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
It's the
So
baby New Year.
find that on YouTube because I don't think they were. Maybe they do run it on TV somewhere. I don't know.
That's something that like years ago they would have when
Yeah.
VCR was still a thing. They'd
Oh
have
yeah.
all three of them
Yeah.
in the
Back to back to
VCR
back.
in
Yeah.
the VCR pack.
Definitely. That probably was the case.
I mean, now too though, like if you like thinking about the classics, if you go on like Disney Plus or I don't think Netflix has too many I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of Christmas movies that you never even hear of that honestly I should go on and just watch one of them one
Yeah.
time because I feel like there's so many Christmas movies that are just left out
Right.
because if you go on any of those streaming services and you just type in Christmas,
Right.
there's so many things that pop
Oh
up
yeah.
that don't get any
And so many of them
recognition.
that you've never heard of.
Never heard
That's
of,
the thing
never
to me.
seen,
Yep.
nothing. Like people probably, I would probably say like people don't really watch
Right.
just because
But they
people
can put it out there in its content, and they probably,
you
as
might
far
get
as paying
a
anybody for the
viewer, a couple,
rights, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
I
like,
feel like that one we were talking about before that because so Jingle All the Way exists, right?
yeah.
There was also a sequel to that
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, like I don't think anybody who was in the original was in it.
Uh-huh.
Um, it was just basically the same story. Like, oh, they're trying to get him the popular toy and he can't get it anywhere, and it's like, why? Like,
And
that's
I think
unnecessary.
that goes back to people have people have their. I feel like the season itself, like it's long, but it's also very. It's a very short season,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like more often than not you're not watching a different
So
Christmas movie every night of the week. So
right, and I'd rather watch one movie I really like multiple times
yeah,
than just put
try and
anything
find
on
something.
because I'm like, oh, let's see what this Christmas movie. Oh, you know what
Yeah.
another one is that's more recent, and it's not my favorite, but I don't dislike it. Is Polar Express. There's just something about Polar
Uh,
Express that's a little weird to me, like some of the.
I never really got into
But
Polar Express either. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's the train. I just like it because it takes place in a train. But
And the animation that looks like
yeah,
too realistic
yeah,
always kind of
yeah.
freaked me out
Like
too.
you can tell the train conductor is Tom Hanks. Like you can
Yeah.
completely tell. But I didn't. One thing I didn't realize that the Grammy had mentioned this, that he plays a bunch of the parts in that movie. So there's different
Oh yeah.
characters on the screen that he's voicing, which makes it kind of
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
that's kind of
it's not
great.
my favorite movie. I know some people like clearly really love it because you see merchandise for it everywhere in that. And I think some of that too though falls into like the generation when that movie came out, the generation that were young when that movie came out, maybe.
You know what one I liked? I always liked the which I completely forgot about. And it's kind of childish, but whatever. It's the Mickey one with Scrooge.
Oh yes, that's a good one.
That's a
That's a good one.
good
Yeah, I always
one.
forget
A
about
little
that.
short
That's another.
story,
Yeah, it is kind of a short story.
but that one is
Then there
always
was
so sweet.
speaking of Jim Carrey, there was actually another Scrooge that was made that was like a CGI Scrooge
Mm.
where he played Scrooge, and that one was good. That one was a good
It
one
was just
too.
all about Scrooge.
Yeah, it was the story of Scrooge is a Christmas Carol, and that's what it was. It was that,
Mm.
and there's been a bunch of that's a story that there's been so many versions of, and it's funny because like other ones you can't you can't imagine them making like another version of say the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Now I know like a Christmas Carol is I mean that's Charles Dickens. It's a very classic you know uh, story in literature.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just funny because there's been so many versions of that made.
Oh yeah, like no one's gonna make another version of. I feel like even when they made the sequels of the Santa Claus,
Right.
they only did that because they were like, "Oh, you guys like this?"
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
completely what that is.
let's take it
Actually, it's
somewhere
not.
else. And then it
Oh,
got it
we can
got
make more
really
money off this.
yeah. And then it just got once they started introducing Jack Frost, it just got
Yeah.
really out of hand at
Yeah.
that point.
Yeah.
Like,
Like I said, the Disney Plus series, they had 2 seasons of. Like, I don't know if they're not doing a third one because
oh
the two
yeah.
seasons were year. They were back to back. They were one year and then the next year, right around
Mm.
Christmas time. They didn't have another one this year, so I don't know if that's it and they're done with that. But they were good. They were that they were good. I mean, like I said, all of the
Yeah.
movies were good too.
They may not have
I
gotten
liked the
enough
story.
views. I should watch that though. I remember
Yeah.
watching a couple episodes of it, and that was a good season
Yeah.
or a good
So
show.
okay, I think to finish out top 5 Christmas movies. Go
Oh, top
in
5.
order, like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
5 being the best. Oh,
No,
I guess number 1
five
being.
being not the worst, but 5 being your lowest rated of the top 5.
Okay. Right now, as of today, because mine change often, I would say if I was doing like a whole series. Oh, Siri thought I was talking
So,
to her.
oh, see, that's because you said something that
um,
sounded like it's
okay. Elf. Um, Christmas with the Cranks. Four Christmases. Grinch. Santa Claus.
Wow. See, mine would be different. Mine would probably be Home Alone 2, Home Alone 1,
Oh, wow.
Elf, Grinch, and the Santa Claus.
Oh, see, I like
And
Four
I like Christmas with the
Christmases.
Cranks, but it's just not as
Oh no, I like that
yeah.
one. I haven't watched it in a
That
couple
one is probably
years.
number 6. That one would probably get to be number 6.
I put Elf on the bottom because I feel like Elf just I don't know.
Yeah,
It's funny, but it's not. I have other movies in front of it nowadays. Anyways,
I gotcha. Well, there we are. So that's our thoughts on Christmas movies, and you got to hear our top 5 each. So if you feel like commenting, let us know. Let us know what you think.
bye.